something unexpected just shook the entire Ferrari garage. And no, it wasn't a last-lap overtake or a dramatic podium fight. What happened caught everyone off guard, and it didn't come after a win or even a top-5 finish. Instead, it came after one of Lewis Hamilton's most disappointing and frustrating weekends in recent memory. The Spanish Grand Prix wasn't just a bad outing for Hamilton, it was a breaking point. Since he arrived at Ferrari, Hamilton has kept most of his criticisms behind closed doors, but not this time. This time, he didn't hold back. In front of thousands of fans and millions watching from home, he exposed the problems that had been simmering for weeks. From the moment a key setup change went wrong, Hamilton struggled with a car that simply wouldn't respond. On a track he knows well, he was left chasing midfield drivers, an unfamiliar and uncomfortable place for someone used to battling at the front. The frustration was visible on his face, in his body language, and especially in his words after the race. He didn't just speak out, he pointed to specific flaws. He mentioned how the car didn't feel right, how decisions made under pressure didn't go as planned, and how communication within the team was far from what it should be. These weren't vague comments, they were direct hits at Ferrari's core operations. And, just to make things more dramatic, his teammate Charles Leclerc ended up on the podium that very same day. Two cars from the same team, two completely different outcomes. While one driver was holding a trophy, the other was walking away with more questions than answers. Hamilton's message was loud and clear. This isn't what he signed up for. Made this weekend even harder for Hamilton wasn't just how his car performed, it was how obvious the difference was within the same team. While Lewis was pushing just to stay ahead of midfield runners, Charles Leclerc was standing on the podium with a smile. That image alone told a story no press release could fix. Hamilton wasn't interested in sugarcoating anything after the race. He was blunt and firm. The car wasn't right, and more importantly, the problems weren't just limited to that one weekend. His tone suggested these issues run much deeper into how the team prepares, how they react, and how decisions are made across the board. For someone like Hamilton, who has built a reputation on sharp feedback and fast adjustments, this kind of inconsistency is beyond frustrating. It's unacceptable. Then came the radio message that really summed up the whole disaster. After his final stop, still under the safety car, Hamilton said the car suddenly felt light. He believed that something went wrong with the front wing adjustment. A routine change made during the pit stop. Don't think about that. A small tweak, something that should be done perfectly every time, may have completely thrown off his car's balance for the rest of the race. For a team with Ferrari's resources and history, that's the kind of mistake that should never happen, not during a race, and definitely not at this level. Team boss Fred Vasseur later admitted that the front wing might have been set incorrectly, but the fact that such a basic error happened during a double pit stop in a race where every moment mattered, points to larger concerns. Because if a team like Ferrari can't get these small but crucial details right in the heat of the moment, how are they supposed to challenge Red Bull in strategy, or match McLaren in development over the course of a season? As Hamilton wrestled with an unstable car and tried to salvage points, Max Verstappen quietly put together one of the cleanest drives of the day. No flash, no drama, just precision, timing, and confidence. While Ferrari's garage looked like it was scrambling, Red Bull's side showed calm, sharp coordination. Verstappen's result, pending any steward's decisions, was a master in reading conditions, saving tires, and making the most of every opening. But what stood out wasn't just Max's driving, it was how well his team supported him. Every call was on point. Every move was measured. That's the kind of understanding Hamilton once had with his longtime engineer at Mercedes. Right now Ferrari seems far from that kind of connection. The trust between driver and team feels thin, and for someone like Hamilton who doesn't just rely on talent, but also on a system that's tight and reliable, that's a massive problem. Let's be honest, this isn't a question of whether Lewis is still fast enough. Everyone knows he is. This is about whether the team around him can match that level week in and week out. Right now, it looks like only one side of the Ferrari garage is operating cleanly, and that's dangerous. When only one driver is getting the best from the car and the other is left in the dark, tension starts to rise. And with someone as experienced and outspoken as Hamilton, those cracks won't stay hidden for long. His tone after the race wasn't explosive, but if you listened closely, there was clear frustration underneath his calm delivery. He talked about needing to look into everything, about spending time in the simulator, about finding the right setup direction. These weren't casual remarks. These were serious signals. He's telling the team that if things don't get sorted quickly, they're not just risking points, they're wasting an entire season. One moment during the race summed up everything Hamilton's been worried about. Near the end, Nico Hulkenberg made a move that left fans stunned. He overtook Hamilton cleanly. Yes, Hulkenberg was on softer tires, but he was also in a car that, on paper, shouldn't be anywhere near a Ferrari. And yet, there he was, pulling ahead in front of a massive Spanish crowd. That single overtake was more than just a position lost. It was symbolic. Hamilton, a multiple-time world champion, found himself unable to fight back in a car that should be far superior. It was a painful reminder that all the prestige in the world means little if the car underneath you isn't working properly. What stings even more is the timing. Barcelona wasn't just another race. It was a key milestone in Ferrari's development plan. This was the weekend they were supposed to see progress from the SF25 upgrade package. But instead of moving forward, they're now staring down the possibility of having to shift focus to 2026, much earlier than planned. For Hamilton, that's a nightmare scenario. He didn't come to Ferrari to wait. He didn't join them hoping things would be better 2 years from now. He came here to win now, and that's exactly why his comments after the race carried so much weight. These weren't emotional outbursts. They were precise, pointed criticisms aimed at the very core of how Ferrari operates. From how they plan for race weekends to how they respond under pressure, everything was put under the microscope. Hamilton's message was clear. The current level of performance and execution isn't acceptable, and if things don't improve rapidly, the consequences could be serious. Not just for this season, but for the team's credibility and the trust of the very driver they've pinned their hopes on. Now, as the paddock turns its attention to Montreal, all eyes are locked on for us. This isn't just about one disappointing race anymore. It's become a much bigger question. Can this team handle the pressure and expectations that come with having Lewis Hamilton behind the wheel? Because what happened in Barcelona wasn't a one-off problem. It was the result of weeks, maybe even months, of issues that were never fully addressed. Technical missteps, slow decision-making, poor pit stops. It's all been adding up. And now, it's reached a boiling point. Hamilton didn't just call out the team. He forced them to look in the mirror. He's pushing for answers, for change, and most importantly, for accountability. And if the people in charge at Mir don't respond decisively, not just in words, but with real action, then this situation might spiral into something no one saw coming. The pressure is real. Hamilton isn't here to build for some far-off future. He's here to win now. That urgency is clear in his tone, in his frustration, and in the way he spoke after the race. He's warning the team without shouting, but make no mistake, it's a warning nonetheless. What happens in Montreal will set the tone. That track doesn't forgive mistakes. It demands clear communication between driver and engineer. It requires a car that reacts predictably and a team that gets everything right the first time. If Ferrari stumbles again, the damage won't just be emotional. It could be the beginning of a complete breakdown in one of the most high-profile partnerships in modern F1. Because Hamilton doesn't tolerate confusion. He doesn't allow repeated errors. And if Ferrari continues to trip over the basics, then it won't matter how legendary the brand is, or how iconic the red car looks. He will walk away mentally first, then eventually, completely. The spotlight is firmly on Ferrari now, and the question isn't whether Hamilton still has what it takes. It's whether the team around him can rise to the level he demands. Because if they can't, the cost won't just be another season lost. It could be the last chance Ferrari gets to work with a champion of his caliber.